The P40 Pro features a quad curve overflow display with curved glass at all four edges. There are still very thin bezels at the top and bottom. The 6.58-inch screen on the Huawei P40 Pro has a resolution of 1200 by 2640. Huawei has increased the refresh rate of the screen to 90Hz, which is faster than the 60Hz of its previous phones, but not quite as fast as competing handsets like the S20 and Oppo Find X2 Pro that offer a 120Hz display. The Huawei P40 Pro is powered by the same Kirin 9905G chipset that we have seen in the Mate 30 Pro 5G and Huawei's folding phone, the Mate XS. This is based on 7nm manufacturing technology and is plenty fast enough to keep up with the latest flagship phones. The processor is teamed up with 8GB of RAM and also currently the only high-end chipset with integrated 5G, meaning it will work well with the dedicated 5G networks of the future as well as with the current hybrid LTE/5G networks. If there's one thing that has made Huawei's P series phones stand out from the crowd, it's the camera tech. The P20 and P30 handsets raised the bar when it came to the mobile photography, and Huawei is looking to raise it higher again with the P40 Pro. On the rear section, the Leica branded camera setup composed of a 50MP primary and 40MP ultra-wide cameras and a 12MP telephoto camera that's capable of 5x optical zoom or 50x digital zoom. There's also a time of flight sensor for creating bokeh effect in portrait mode shots. With the P40 series, Huawei is debuting its XD Fusion engine, which uses AI to optimize your photos. Huawei was one of the first manufacturers to get on board with AI, and the results on the P40 Pro are impressive. The phone can remove friends from a picture and even reflections that appear when you are trying to photograph anything that's behind a glass. The P40 Pro also features impressive zooming capabilities, and Huawei isn't shy talking about that. Low-light photography has been a strong point for Huawei, and the P40 Pro doesn't disappoint on that front. The P40 Pro's rear camera layout is capable of shooting Ultra HD 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, as well as super slow motion at up to an eye-watering 7680 fps. Both modes are available on the ultra-wide and wide cameras. Up front is a 32MP selfie shooter backed up by laser-guided autofocus. The 32MP selfie shooter is able to capture lots of detail and color in almost all lighting conditions. The Huawei P40 Pro is equipped with a 4200mAh battery, which should last you a full day of moderate to heavy uses. It supports 40W fast wired charging as well as wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. Huawei Mate 30 Pro 5G smartphone will be launched in October 2019. The phone comes with a 6.53-inch OLED touchscreen display with an aspect ratio of 18.5:9. It is powered by an octa-core high-silicon Kirin 990 7nm processor. It comes with 8GB of RAM. As far as the cameras are concerned, the Huawei Mate 30 Pro 5G on the rear packs quad camera setup consisting of a 40MP main shooter and a 8MP telephoto lens and a 40MP ultra-wide lens along with a 3D time-of-flight camera. There are two cameras on the front for selfies. One is 32MP and another is 3D time-of-flight sensor. This device is based on EMUI 10 on top of Android 10 and packs 256GB of inbuilt storage. It is powered by a 4500mAh battery with 40W fast battery charging and 27W wireless charging support. It was launched in black, space silver, cosmic purple, emerald green, orange and forest green colors. The Honor 20 Pro doesn't look particularly different from any standard Android phone. The Honor 20 Pro looks, feels and runs like a premium smartphone, but without the polish or the hype, and most importantly without the price tag. It's a sleek and powerful mid-range smartphone. The phone has 6.26-inch screen and uses LCD Full HD Plus tech. This phone has an impressive 91.6% screen-to-body ratio. The power button and fingerprint sensor are one and the same. This phone has 4000mAh battery and could easily last for a day. It supports 22.5W fast charging. The Honor 20 Pro's camera setup is one of its biggest selling points. This phone has 4 cameras. The 4 cameras are as follows: a 48MP 1.4 aperture main snapper with optical image stabilization, a 16MP sensor with a wide-angle lens, an 8MP sensor with a telephoto lens and OIS, and a 2MP macro camera. On the front, there is a 32MP selfie camera, which generally take high quality pictures. Like most Honor devices, the 20 Pro also comes with Magic UI 2.1 on top of the Android 9.0 Pie OS. This phone have Kirin 980 chipset and 8GB of RAM. There is a 256GB of internal storage also. This is the top phone with plenty of power. The Huawei Mate 20 Pro is still one of the best phones from the Chinese firm to date, offering up a heavy mix of design, power and performance with a few party pieces thrown in too. It builds on the P20 and P20 Pro, offering up even more screen-enhanced triple rear cameras and an in-display fingerprint scanner. This phone have Kirin 980 processor and it's the first 7nm chip on any Android phone. The Mate 20 Pro have 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage. You can expand the storage to a maximum of 256GB. It have a 6.39-inch display, giving you a huge amount of space for gaming and movies, and its QHD resolution and HDR10 support ensures everything looks great. You will get great battery life from the Mate 20 Pro, and we regularly achieved a day and a half of usage from a single charge during our review time. This phone comes with 3 cameras on the rear, adding the excellent 40MP wide angle and 8MP telephoto lenses from the P20 Pro, but the third sensor is new. It's an ultra-wide 16MP snapper, allowing you to capture even more of your surroundings into each shot. The Mate 20 Pro is a full-featured phone for a full-featured price. The Huawei P30 Pro is the best smartphone when it comes to photography. The Huawei P30 Pro is so close to being the best smartphone right now, and for some people it's already in the top spot. It's the best phone we have used when it comes to photography with 5x and 10x zoom capabilities and fantastic low light performance. The large 6.47-inch screen on the P30 Pro may only have a full HD Plus resolution, but it's bright, clear and colorful, providing an excellent canvas for your apps and games. The Huawei P30 Pro packs a 4200 mAh battery, which is larger than those in pretty much all of its rival. The Huawei P30 Pro packs in a Kirin 980 chipset and 8GB of RAM, giving the handset plenty of power under the hood. This means the P30 Pro is capable of handling any app you throw at it, with fast load times and the ability to render graphically demanding games such as PUBG on the highest settings without skipping a bit. There's no worry when it comes to P30 Pro potentially running out of juice. The battery life here is excellent. The Huawei P30 Pro's standout feature is its camera setup. It's the feature Huawei is marketing the phone around, and for good reason, as a camera phone it's excellent. On the rear, you will find a quad camera array comprising of 40MP main sensor, 8MP telephoto camera, 20MP ultra-wide angle lens and time on flight depth sensing camera. The cameras of P30 Pro sets a new standard for the entire mobile industry. Its 4 rear cameras are quite simply astonishing, the design is eye-catching and powerful. It is providing good 5x and 10x zoom and a digital 50x zoom, which gets you insanely close to the objects far off in the distance. Its low light capabilities are also top-notch. The P30 Pro not only sets a new standard for Huawei, it sets a new standard for the entire mobile industry. It's a true flagship smartphone.